Hello and welcome to your fifth lesson on your brain and owner's manual. We will be talking about the basic model of the brain, the senses and interesting facts, 3 types of learners, the 7 intelligences, habits of mind, neuroplasticity, and ending with the growth mindset. Let's get started. The brain, your basic model. There are 3 main parts of the brain. The largest part is the cerebrum. It is 80% of your brain makeup. It controls thinking, reasoning, problem solving, and memory. Each half controls the other half of the body. Next, down at this bottom portion is the cerebellum. It controls body balance, coordinates muscle movement, and it makes muscles work together. Last is the brainstem. It's right here. It controls involuntary actions such as breathing, heartbeat, blinking, sneezing, and coughing. Here is an up-close picture of an actual brain and brainstem. Here is the brainstem, the cerebellum, and then a portion of the cerebrum. Here is a model of the brain, and it shows what parts of the cerebrum control your senses: smell, taste, touch, hearing, and sight. Speaking and motor are also labeled on the diagram. Here are some interesting facts about the brain. The brain has approximately 14 billion cells, and it weighs about 3 pounds, and additionally, it's about 80% water. Your brain sends messages which travel as electrical impulses, and these messages go as fast as 245 miles per hour. Your thought right now is traveling at a speed of 150 miles per hour. The human brain itself does not feel any pain, so you are probably wondering, well, what about headaches? Well, they come from the muscles and nerves around the brain. Your brain uses 20% of oxygen we breathe. It can only go without that oxygen for 3 to 5 minutes. 90% of all people have their language controlled by the left side of the brain. And this last interesting fact is a good one for the dinner table. If the brain was lifted out of the skull and spread out, it would cover the page of a newspaper, about 2 feet square. Okay, 3 ways to energize the brain. There are 3 types of learners. These are the way people learn new information. First is the visual learner. Visual learners like to see things. They memorize and learn new information by seeing a picture in their mind and looking at new information. They show others new things by drawing a picture or diagram. Next is the auditory learner. The auditory learner learns best by hearing new information, taking it in through their ears. They often memorize new information by saying it aloud or repeating that information out loud over and over. They learn new things by hearing about it or reading it out loud. Auditory learners often show or tell new things to others using language. The third type of learner is the kinesthetic learner. Kinesthetic learners like to do things hands-on. They memorize and learn new things by writing it down, making it, or using their body. And they like to show new things through demonstration. Often people use multiple types of learning incorporated together to learn best. Now for the 7 ways to be smart. Dr. Howard Gardner developed a theory that there are multiple intelligences, that each person has these 7 multiple intelligences, which we'll talk about each one individually. But each person has the intelligences to different degrees, but everybody has all of them. They just haven't developed each one as much as the next one. So let's talk about them. Linguistic. The linguistic intelligence is where people like to read, write, talk, do word games, and poetry. People high in the logical intelligence enjoy math problems, puzzles, word problems, making solutions, and logical arguments. Those high in spatial intelligence have a really good sense of direction. They do well in art, They are good at reading maps, memory games, and geometry. People high in musical intelligence like to play instruments, they might sing, enjoy music, like to hum. People high in bodily intelligence enjoy sports, PE, hands-on activity, and other physical activity. People high in the interpersonal intelligence usually have a lot of friends, like being in big groups, they're usually the leader, and understand others really well. On the other side of that is the intrapersonal intelligence. Those high in intrapersonal intelligence like to be alone, they like to journal, they know themselves very well. There has been some discussion that there should be an eighth intelligence, which I've listed down here as the naturalistic. The naturalistic intelligence is where people have a high liking for the environment, being outdoors, for nature and animals. Now let's talk about the habits of mind. What are some of the characteristics of what intelligent people do when they are confronted with problems? This is the theory that there are 16 characteristics that people use when they are confronted with a problem or a challenge that they can't readily solve at the very moment. Number one is persistence. Persistence means you stick to it. You work at a task until it's completed, you're focused on it, and you don't give up. Number two is manage impulsivity. You take your time, you think before acting, you remain calm and deliberate. Number three, listening with empathy and understanding. You understand others. You devote energy to other people's thoughts and ideas. You make an effort to perceive others' points of view and emotions. Number four, you think flexibly. You look at it another way. You're able to change your own perspective and consider other options. Number five, you think about thinking. Metacognition. Know your knowing. Being aware of your own thoughts, strategies, feelings, and actions and their effects on others. Number six, striving for accuracy. You check it again. You always do your best. You set high standards. You check and find ways to improve constantly. Number seven, applying past knowledge. You use what you learn. You look back on your prior knowledge. You transfer that knowledge beyond the situation that it was learned in. Number eight, questioning and posing problems. You ask, how do you know? You have a questioning attitude. You know what data is needed, and you develop questioning strategies to produce data. Thinking and communicating with clarity and precision. You are clear. You strive for accurate communication, both in writing and when you're talking with others. You avoid overgeneralizing, distorting information, leaving information out. Number 10, you gather data through all your senses. You use all your natural pathways. You pay attention to the world around you. You take in data through your taste, touch, smell, hearing, and sight. Number 11, you create, imagine, and innovate. You try it a different way. You create and generate new and novel ideas that are original. Number 12, you respond with wonderment and awe. You have fun figuring it out. You find the world awesome, mysterious, and you are intrigued with new phenomena and beauty. You're passionate about life. Number 13, taking responsible risks. You venture out. You're adventuresome. Living on the edge of one's competence. You try new things constantly. Number 14, finding humor. You laugh a little. You find the whimsical and unexpected. You are able to laugh at yourself. And number 15, you think interdependently. You work together with others. You believe in teamwork. And number 16, you're open to continuous learning. You learn from your experiences and you resist complacency. Okay, now let's talk about neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the idea that the brain has the ability to change and reorganize itself and build new pathways throughout life based on new experiences. Your neurons in the brain can compensate for injury and disease. Neurons adjust your responses to new situations or changes in the environment. What does that all mean? Well, maintaining brain growth through stimulating activity. The use it or lose it idea. The more you are using your brain in a positive way and to learn new things, the more your brain is going to grow. Growth mindset. The idea of the growth mindset is that people either have a fixed mindset about learning or a growth mindset about learning. Let's look at the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset is the idea that intelligence and talent are fixed at birth. The idea that, well, I'm just not a good math person, or I was born not doing very well at reading. It's the idea that you just have a certain amount of intelligence and that's all you're going to have. People with a fixed mindset are often afraid of looking dumb. They're afraid of doing better. This curtails or reduces your learning. It's when you have a negative attitude that you cannot improve. On the other side is the growth mindset. It's the idea that intelligence and talent can go up or down. It's the idea that intelligence can be developed. The idea that you can work hard to learn more, work hard to get smarter. The idea that if you didn't do well on a math test, if you work harder, you'll do better the next time. Versus the fixed mindset that, well, I didn't do well on the math test, it's because I just don't do well on math. That's a fixed mindset. So, we've gone over some basics about the brain and some ideas about how your brain and learning affects you. So be thinking this evening as you are doing your video and our discussion for tomorrow in class, how the brain and your new understanding about how the brain learns, how that is going to affect you individually as you are a learner in 6th grade this year.